I stared at my phone, rereading the group chat messages I was never meant to see. Someone, probably my stepsister's assistant, who still felt sorry for me, had forwarded screenshots of their private conversation. Marcus, meeting at 2 p.m. tomorrow to discuss the Phoenix acquisition. Boardroom AEmma, should we invite Olivia? Marcus, why would we? She's not real family. Emma, true. She'd probably just embarrass us anyway. Remember that disaster with the Johnson contract? Marcus, oh, when she actually suggested employee benefits were important. I set my phone down on the desk, my real desk, in my private office on the top floor of Phoenix Group's headquarters. Outside the window, Seattle's skyline glittered in the morning sun, but I barely noticed. Their exclusion played perfectly into my plans. For 3 years, I'd hidden my identity as the founder and CEO of Phoenix Group, one of the fastest-growing tech companies in the country. The business media called me reclusive, mysterious, brilliant. My step-siblings called me a failure who would never amount to anything. If only they knew. The story began 15 years ago, when my father married Catherine Walsh, a wealthy widow with 2 picture-perfect children. I was 17, still grieving my mother's death, when I suddenly gained a stepmother who saw me as an inconvenience, and 2 step-siblings who treated me like an unwanted houseguest. Marcus and Emma Walsh had everything: trust funds, elite schools, guaranteed positions at their father's company, Walsh Technologies. I had nothing but a partial scholarship to State University and a determination to prove myself. You really should consider community college, Catherine once told me, her voice dripping with false concern. Walsh Tech always needs administrative assistants. But I had other plans. While Marcus and Emma partied through business school, I worked 3 jobs to fund degrees in computer science and engineering. While they posted photos from European vacations, I was teaching myself to code, building the algorithms that would become Phoenix Group's foundation. That disaster with the Johnson contract? It had been 5 years earlier, when I still cared about their approval. I suggested Walsh Tech software should focus on employee wellness, health tracking, career development, real benefits. Marcus laughed me out of the room. 2 months later, I founded Phoenix Group with exactly that mission: human-centered technology. Within a year, we'd stolen the Johnson contract from Walsh Tech. Within 3, we became their fiercest competitor. And now, after months of careful maneuvering, I was poised to acquire them entirely. Walsh Tech was crumbling, outdated practices, falling stock, fleeing clients. Phoenix's offer was their only lifeline. Negotiations had been handled through intermediaries. The CEO of Phoenix Group was far too busy for direct meetings. My computer pinged. Walsh Tech board meeting, 2 p.m. I'd arranged the timing myself, knowing Marcus and Emma would schedule their private gathering then. After all, the mysterious CEO of Phoenix Group was never seen in afternoon meetings. I opened my desk drawer and pulled out a photo, me at 17, standing with my father at graduation. He died 2 years later in a car crash, leaving nothing but memories, and a family that wanted me gone. Catherine erased his legacy, folding his consulting firm into Walsh Tech, and told me, "You're an adult now. Make your own way." So I did. "Sarah," I said into the intercom. "Is everything ready for this afternoon?" "Yes, Miss Harrison. The lawyers have the final paperwork prepared. The board has already approved the sale. They just need the Walsh family signatures. And they still don't know. No one knows you're Alexander Phoenix." I smiled. The media still believed Phoenix's CEO was a reclusive man in his 50s. The staged photographs had fooled everyone, including Emma, who once swooned over a magazine article, calling him exactly the kind of powerful man this family should align with. "Perfect," I said. "Make sure the cameras are recording. I want to capture their faces when they find out." After checking my reflection, dark hair sleek, tailored suit flawless, posture commanding, I adjusted my designer glasses. Not a necessity, but they altered my face just enough that anyone who hadn't seen me in years wouldn't recognize me immediately. "Miss Harrison," Sarah's voice crackled through. "The Walsh siblings have arrived. Boardroom A. The live feed is running. Would you like to watch?" I clicked open the video stream. Marcus and Emma sat at the conference table, looking smug as ever. "Can you believe Olivia actually applied for a job here?" Marcus laughed. "As a project manager." Like Phoenix Group would hire her. Emma snickered. Did you see her resume? State University. She's probably some junior coder at a no-name startup. Pathetic. In truth, I'd sent that application myself under a false identity, knowing they'd see it. Knowing they'd laugh. Never suspecting that I wasn't applying to Phoenix Group. I owned it. Sarah, I said, glancing at the clock, 1:55 p.m., tell them the meeting will begin early. And this time, address me as Miss Phoenix. I straightened my jacket and gathered the folders. 15 years of exclusion, insults, and dismissal, all leading to this moment. My father's words echoed in my mind. Success isn't about privilege. It's about how hard you're willing to work. Sarah met me at the boardroom door, her expression professional but her eyes gleaming. Shall I announce you? I nodded. She opened the door. Mr. and Miss Walsh, allow me to introduce Alexander Phoenix, CEO of Phoenix Group. I stepped inside. Their polite interest collapsed into confusion, then horror. Hello, Marcus. Emma. I smiled, channeling Catherine's condescension. Shall we discuss the future of Walsh Technologies? The silence lasted 12 full seconds. I counted each one. Olivia, Emma's voice cracked. This is some kind of joke. I set the folders down and took their father's old seat at the head of the table. No joke. Though your comments about my job application were entertaining. Marcus found his voice. You can't be Alexander Phoenix. The records, the photos. All carefully managed misdirection, I said coolly. Now, shall we review the acquisition terms? I believe you're both familiar with the broad strokes. Phoenix Group acquires Walsh Technologies. Phoenix Group purchases Walsh Technologies for $2.44 billion, retaining key assets while restructuring management. The words had barely left my lips when Emma leaned forward, her designer bracelet clinking against the table. You've been lying to everyone, pretending to be someone else. I met her gaze steadily. No. I've been protecting my privacy while building one of the most successful tech companies in the country. Something I learned from watching your family. Appearance isn't everything. Reality is what matters. Marcus's face hardened. Mom needs to know about this. The board needs to know. The board already approved the sale, I cut him off. And Catherine? She signed off last week. She just doesn't know who I am yet. A small smile tugged at my lips. I was very much looking forward to that conversation. I could see it in their eyes, the dawning realization that their failure of a stepsister had outmaneuvered them completely. The company they had always taken for granted, the inheritance they believed untouchable, now belonged to me. What do you want? Emma asked finally. Want? I already have what I want. Phoenix Group is acquiring Walsh Technologies. That's just business. I opened another folder. Though there are some changes I'd like to discuss regarding current management. Marcus went pale. You're firing us. Not exactly. I slid papers across the table. I'm offering you both positions that better match your capabilities. Marcus, you'll transition to Assistant Director of Client Relations. Emma, you'll serve as Junior Project Coordinator. Both come with significant pay cuts, of course, but they include the employee benefits package you once mocked me for suggesting. This is ridiculous, Emma sputtered. We won't accept. Then you're welcome to seek employment elsewhere, I replied calmly. But keep in mind the non-compete clauses in your contracts. Considering Walsh Tech's position in the market, job hunting might prove difficult. Marcus slumped back in his chair. You've been planning this for years, haven't you? Planning? No. Working hard? Yes. Building something meaningful? Yes. Succeeding despite your constant attempts to undermine and exclude me? Absolutely. I stood, straightening my jacket. You have until tomorrow morning to decide. If you accept, report to HR at 9 a.m. If not, security will escort you out. As I turned to leave, Emma's desperate voice followed me. Wait, what about Mom? What are you going to do to her? I paused at the door. Catherine made her choices 15 years ago. Now she'll live with the consequences. Oh, and don't bother warning her. She's in a board meeting right now, with Alexander Phoenix. The second board meeting of the day was held in the largest conference room. Through the glass walls, I saw Catherine seated among the directors, elegant as ever, likely already planning how to charm the elusive CEO of Phoenix Group. Sarah met me at the door. "Everyone's ready, Miss Phoenix. Shall I announce you?" "No," I said softly. "I'll handle this myself." I walked into the room. For the second time that day, recognition dawned on a Walsh face. Catherine's composure cracked just for an instant as she realized who had bought her company. "Good afternoon," I said to the room at large, though my eyes locked on hers. "I'm Alexander Phoenix, CEO of Phoenix Group. Some of you may also remember me as Olivia Harrison." The next hour was a masterclass in composure. I outlined Phoenix Group's plans, modernizing systems, expanding benefits, restructuring management. Catherine sat silent, her perfect mask slipping as I dismantled everything she'd once controlled. When the meeting adjourned, she tried to slip away. "Not this time. Catherine, a moment." She turned, and for the first time in 15 years, I saw fear in her eyes. "How?" she whispered. "How did I build a multi-billion-dollar company, or how did I manage to buy yours?" I leaned against the table. "The answer's the same. I worked for it. Something you never understood. If this is about your father's company, this isn't about revenge, Catherine. It's about justice. Success doesn't come from privilege or a last name. It comes from talent, dedication, and respect. You never taught that lesson, but I learned it anyway." Her voice cracked. "And now, will you destroy everything we built?" "No. I'll make it better. Walsh Technologies will become a division of Phoenix Group, focused on employee-centered software, the very idea Marcus and Emma once mocked. Your company's legacy won't be about privilege anymore. It will be about people." "And me?" she asked quietly. "You'll retain a board seat," I said smoothly, "but as a minor shareholder. Your voting power will be limited. Consider it a lesson in humility." As she turned to leave, I called after her. "Oh, and Catherine, family dinner on Sunday? I'll be there." The next few weeks were interesting. Marcus and Emma, forced to accept reality, begrudgingly stepped into their new roles. They weren't happy, but they learned, slowly, about hard work, accountability, and respect. Catherine remained on the board, though her once commanding voice was quieted. Sometimes, I caught her watching me with a mix of fear and something dangerously close to respect. The media feasted on the reveal. Stepdaughter's sweet revenge and mystery tech CEO unmasked dominated headlines for weeks. But that wasn't the story that mattered. The real story was in the changes we made. Employee satisfaction soared. Innovation flourished. Walsh Tech, once a symbol of corporate privilege, became a model of progressive workplace culture. A year later, profits were up 40%. Marcus had finally learned to listen to clients. Emma had grown into a capable project manager. And me? I sat in my office reviewing reports when Sarah knocked. "Miss Phoenix, your step-siblings are here for their quarterly review." "Send them in." Marcus and Emma entered, no designer labels, no arrogance. Just two people learning, finally, the value of work. "Please, sit," I said, gesturing to the chairs across from me. "Let's discuss your progress." As I looked at them, I thought of my father, how he'd always said success wasn't about beating others. It was about becoming the best version of yourself. I hadn't bought Walsh Technologies for revenge. I'd bought it to prove that merit, not privilege, defined true success. And maybe, just maybe, we had all become better people in the process. The real victory wasn't revenge. It was transformation.